reporting to you live from a web of lies spun by Kawhi Leonard and Uncle Dennis and his friends. You probably heard about it already. Please like and subscribe to my channel or don't. I want this channel to fail. Again, you probably heard about Kawhi's little scandal already, but basically what happened was the Clippers owner, Steve Ballmer. I'm sure you know Steve Ballmer. He does his crazy walrus claps and all the stuff he loves to do. But Steve Ballmer is a wild boy. He made a fake tree planting company. Never heard of a tree planting company. I thought it was called landscaping, but I guess those two things are different apparently. But this company is called Aspiration that Steve Ballmer made or made up. But anyway, Steve Ballmer is funding the company. Steve Ballmer's worth $1 billion, but he's funding this company, Aspiration, and there's paperwork where Kawhi Leonard signs with the company Aspiration to be essentially, mascot's not the word I'm looking for, but a partner of the company. Let's say LeBron signs with Nike, or a superstar athlete signs with Nike. You know, they're sponsored by Nike, so essentially Kawhi would be sponsored by or a sponsor of Aspiration, this tree planting company. So Aspiration, I guess it actually exists. They're not planting any trees in reality, but again, Kawhi signs with the company, and it's scheduled to pay him an extra $28 million. I believe it was just over this 24-25 season. So everything is allegations right now. NBA is looking into it. They can't exactly prove anything as of right now, but everything looks really bad for Steve Ballmer and Kawhi. So it seems really likely that the NBA is going to put things together and give Ballmer and the Clippers some sort of punishment moving forward with this. But after Aspiration was founded, again, Kawhi signs. There's photographs of the document. Kawhi signed the document, and it's really hard to believe that Kawhi didn't know what was going on. He made no public appearances talking about Aspiration or anything like that. If he had made one public appearance, then maybe it would be more believable, I guess. And the part that confuses me here is, let's say an owner like Steve Ballmer, let's say he has his own actual company. Aspiration doesn't seem to be real, but let's say the Nike owner owns his own NBA team as well, and then he signs an athlete onto Nike, and he pays that athlete $10 million per year. Let's say it's LeBron James, or he pays him $30 million per year, way below the market value of that player, because LeBron should be getting paid $50 million, whatever he's getting paid right now. I think it's around $50 million for this coming up season. But let's say they pay him the $30 million, then through the Nike company that owner, for example, had signed LeBron to, they're paying him an extra $40 million through the Nike company. So they're getting around the salary cap. So they're able to free up that room on their salary cap to sign better players, to put around Kawhi essentially in this situation, but then still pay him that extra $28 million on the side, but that money is not on the salary cap. So essentially it's going against the integrity of the game. The salary cap is there for a reason. It's there so billionaire owners like Steve Ballmer that just have GTA money's not a thing for them at all, just so those types of owners can't just buy their entire team and pretty much do like what Steve Ballmer is doing and giving Kawhi that extra $28 million off the books so we could sign maybe 2 or 3 other role players that would help out the Clippers and give Kawhi a better chance to win a championship or compete. But just going really against the integrity of the game. These small market teams that don't have all this money to throw around wouldn't be able to do something like this, where they make up a fake company and funnel money in to their players through something that's outside of the salary cap to work around the salary cap. I'm a Spurs fan, so we have a weird history with Kawhi. Once a Spur, always a Spur. I still have respect for Kawhi, even since he left San Antonio, especially since he helped us win the championship in 2014. He was the Finals MVP, so I'm not going to have some player that helped my team win a championship. He decides to leave. Things kind of were weird towards the end. Kawhi is saying the Spurs are lying. Spurs are basically saying him and Uncle Dennis are lying about the injury. Things got weird. Kawhi left. Whatever, though, I'm not worried about that. I still have a lot of respect for Kawhi, but after seeing this situation, one of the things that came into my head first is it makes me wonder as a Spurs fan if Kawhi is down to do this. Again, it's all alleged. I'm sure he took his Uncle Dennis's advice in a lot of his business dealings, so I assume he had his Uncle Dennis's advice on this particular thing. And, if his Uncle Dennis and Kawhi are down to, this is assuming he knew what was going on, but I'm 99% sure that Steve Ballmer told him, hey, sign this, we're going to pay you this extra $28 million. If Kawhi signed something like that document or that contract basically saying, hey, we're going to pay you this $28 million for this next year, and he knew they're not going to ask him to do any appearances, to do anything, he's just getting paid $28 million to do nothing, not even wear a fake aspiration tree planting company shirt, like nothing at all. He's just getting paid the $28 million. So you can't play stupid. Like, that your owner's going around the salary cap to pay you extra money to try to keep you on the team. So, there's no way Kawhi didn't know what was going on. He knew what was going on. So when I see Kawhi do that and be willing to do that to work around the salary cap and, stay in LA to work around the rules, it makes me think, if he's willing to do this in the NBA and work around the salary cap in that way, would he be willing to fake a knee injury with him and his Uncle Dennis to work his way out of San Antonio and create some issue that's not even really there and get out of San Antonio? Because I can't say definitively that he did or didn't do that, but during the time that was going on, the Spurs medical staff was saying Kawhi Leonard is cleared to play, his knee is completely fine, and the Spurs are probably, I don't even know if probably, like 99% sure that they are the number one team in the NBA when it comes to being conservative, letting their players take more rest than they need, as much rest as they need. The Spurs have no problem letting players rest and recover from their injuries. We're the one organization, not the one, there are other organizations that take that very seriously, but I feel like no one's above the Spurs in terms of limiting their players' minutes and letting them recover from an injury. So we got to the point with Kawhi where the medical staff said, Kawhi, you're good to go, you're good to play, you're medically clear, there's nothing wrong with your knee medically, everything looks totally fine in the knee. And then Kawhi and his Uncle Dennis say, no, it's not. Kawhi says his knee doesn't feel right, and who am I to say it didn't? Only Kawhi is in Kawhi's body. Only he knows how he feels. So maybe there was still something wrong with the knee. He continues to have knee problems on and off throughout his career, even since leaving. So I don't think he made up having knee problems, but I think it's definitely possible that him and his Uncle Dennis exaggerated how bad his knee was to force his way out of San Antonio. And that was never really a thought for me until I see this, and you see that Kawhi is down to sign off on something, $28 million contract, and you can't give him the benefit of the doubt because he knows he's not making appearances, he knows he's doing nothing and getting paid $28 million. So you can't play dumb and act like, oh, I didn't know, because he definitely knew what was going on. Moving on to the consequences the Clippers, Steve Ballmer, Kawhi Leonard might face. So Joe Smith back in 1999, he had something similar happen. I forget the exact team he played for, but this was in 99. His team was paying him whatever per year, less than he was worth per year, and they were paying him on the side through some other company, very similar to what happened in this Kawhi Leonard situation. But basically what happened, his team got fined $3.5 million, which was a lot more money back then than it is today, because this was in 99. The general manager was suspended. I don't know how long, but he was suspended. And then the worst part out of all the consequences was they lost 5 first-round draft picks. I want to say this was the Timberwolves. My apologies if this wasn't the Timberwolves, but fined 5 first-round draft picks. So that's the biggest thing. You're basically your team is screwed for the next 5 years. You're not bringing in any top talent through the draft, and you have no first-round picks to trade to bring in a star player, and that just completely screws your franchise for 5 years, 10 years, who knows how long it might be. Maybe there was some generational player in those first-round picks that you would have gotten, but now you've lost your first-round picks because you did something like this to work your way around the salary cap. And again, like I said earlier in the video, it's just against the integrity of the game to work around the salary cap like that. And that kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Holds back small market teams, and that really rubs me the wrong way, especially being from San Antonio, where we're such a small market team. We've done things the right way and had so much success in San Antonio. I know every team can't be like that, but being a Spurs fan, it's just doing things the right way, from our front office to our coaching staff to our players and everything, just being very transparent and doing things the right way, just for the players and for everyone, and not going against the integrity of the game and doing something like this, which is, it's just cheating. That is what it is. It's just cheating the game and cheating the salary cap. And when I first heard about this, I was like, I don't really care. Rich people are doing things behind their back to give other rich people more money. Billionaires are making millionaires more rich, and that happens every single day. My first thought was, I don't care. It's whatever. But I watched some videos, did some research on it, and I never thought about that point. It's just cheating the integrity of the game, and it's just a big slap in the face to small market teams. So right now, everything is alleged right now, but the Clippers are just, if you're a Clippers fan, I'm sorry, I don't know why you are, but Clippers are just a trash organization, always have been a trash organization, and this just goes further to prove my point that they are a trash organization, and it's just a completely trash move. I hope the Clippers get penalized to the maximum degree. I hope they get first-round draft picks taken away from them, and I hope they just get pushed farther down into the dumps where they belong. I was hoping for the Clippers to have more success. I liked Steve Ballmer. He's some crazy out there guy, and he brings a lot of energy. Nobody would like him if he wasn't a billionaire, but he is, so he comes out and does his walrus clap and all this cool stuff to bring good energy to people around him. But Steve Ballmer, you're trash for doing this, and your organization is trash, and I hope y'all get penalized to the maximum degree. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see y'all next time.